this not centered? I'm gonna leave it like that. Hi guys. I started a little bit early. We'll give it about 10 minutes in and then we can start working from there for these set pieces. Oh, let me grab my render. Eventually I'm gonna have a preview. I just need to do it. It takes time. Can I just drag and drop? It's too big. That's okay. It's okay. None of you will judge me. I know it. I believe in you all. Just putting this in the corner here. Can anyone actually type? Oh, good. Okay. So I'm not making these accessories because we have a video for them, but we will be making some camping themed accessories. And I'm going to check that audio. On YouTube. Making sure you guys can actually hear this. Okay. Okay, cool. You guys can hear me okay, right? It's been a while. So I've also included, someone on YouTube requested a trash bag. I have included a trash bag today. I gotta move to the side. And my cat will probably come over and say hi on stream because she is already hearing this. Hi, chicken. You coming to join the stream? Yeah? Just woke up from your nap? Okay. So we'll give it a little bit of time. Eventually I'll get us a little preview here someday. I think I will move this. I don't know if I want to do that. Let me share this on the Discord channel. Twitch looks okay. No one can see my site over here. Alrighty. Do I have my OBJ? Okay, I do. My project, but where's my trash bag? Open avatar. Make sure it's the actual correct size here. You guys can't see it yet, but I'm making sure things are gonna look okay. Yes, I know it's not in a T-pose. Thank you. Oh, I should share. The links are mostly in all of these things. Let's see, Seagraph. Must be logged in. I know we've been talking about it in the Discord. For those of you who might not know, we are more active in the Discord than it's been a bit on the streams, just due to event planning such as Seagraph. We will be attending Seagraph next week. You will not. My cat will not be attending. She's very bitter about that. We'll be attending Seagraph next week, so we've been preparing for that. So that's why we haven't had a lot of streams recently. because we do have a booth at Seagraph. For those of you who don't know what Seagraph is, well, like while we're waiting for people to pop in, I'll just share what the Seagraph link looks like. And so we will be attending Seagraph. So if you guys are going, come stop by our booth. It is booth number 345, which is easy for me to remember. I do not want to see. I assume you guys can see the video. Make sure I didn't lose connection. Okay, good. Sorry about that. So I don't have my glasses today because I couldn't find any. So we're just going to go in blind. And that's how this is going to work out. It's going to be great. And I'm going to make myself a bit brighter here. So we'll take a couple of minutes so that people can actually get the notification and drop in. And then we'll do about 2 hours. It's been a bit since I've done this. So we'll do about 2 hours and we will do a couple of camping set pieces. So I've got a bunch actually backlogged. So we're going to see how fast we can go. I will answer questions, but I will be trying to make more set pieces or environment pieces that go with this camping set that Julia from the Korea team made. This will end up being, I think this was in one of the email blasts that we had. I'm going to hide that so I don't get double streams here. And so you can see the full render of this. It is also available on Connect. You know, that would be great if actually to take a look at as well. Hey, Rosemary, welcome back. It's been a while. I'm sorry, everybody. Sign in. What is that password? Twitter. Let's see. Is it this one? It is. All right. I will share the link for the theme that I'm kind of sticking with because people have been liking those videos. So we'll stick with these videos. While we're waiting for people to pop in before I actually do this, I will show you guys what, like the link I just sent. Hey, Smash Doof, welcome in. So we're going to go with the camping theme. It's more like a glamping theme, as you can see. I'm not making any of these items. They are going to be YouTube videos that are coming out that are tutorials. We've already done 2. We will have a 3rd. But I want you guys to all kind of see that. Specifically this duck pillow. I do like the duck. And there's a frog back there. I do love those. And I put the link in the chat. We're kind of sticking with the camping theme. And so you can find this on the Connect official Marvelous Designer page. So sticking with the glamping theme here. Look at that frog. Oh, I love her frog so much. I believe this one will be the last tutorial, but we will see. I'm going to see if this 3D viewer works while we wait. This is a lot to build. So we do have 2 tutorials up, one for the exterior of the tent and then another one for like that I'm going to call it the blankets with the tarp on the bottom. Those are already out on our YouTube channel. If you don't know, it is linked in most of the bios and in the description of all of our streams. Look at this. Look at this. I'm not making this one because it's going to be a tutorial of its own. But look at the duck. Look at that duck. Okay, where are you? The frog's a little A little scary in the face, but it's still cute. If it didn't have, maybe there's a face underneath it. We'll see. So we'll be making one easy pillow, but we'll be doing a couple of set pieces because we'll see how fast we can go. And we'll do a couple tricks, a couple ways to work around. But that's gonna be today. Today, I did get a request for trash can or a trash bag. So I have that, so you can clean up after yourselves. The whole joke of like, if you're going to go camping, leave nothing, take everything back. So, that's always fun. One second. So, well, one more minute and then we'll be good to go. But yeah, so this one's on the link that I just put in the chat. Most people can't put links, so just be aware of that. Only me and my bot can at the moment. But you can find the first portion of the tutorials that I'm kind of trying to fit in the theme for on our Connect website here. Again, I'll put it one last link in the chat. And you can also get the other assets too, such as the tent frame for that tutorial, so on and so forth. It is 12:10, so I'm going to go ahead and hide that. Yo, you can see my trash bag. Well, I guess we'll do the trash first. So in order of things I have I've already prepared like some of them. Unfortunately, this is oftentimes what a hammock looks like, but we'll do a hammock. We'll do a hammock, a trash bag, because someone asked for a trash bag with stuff inside of it. So it's going to be a case of like kind of the shrink wrap concept, plastic, and bringing in a custom avatar. So I made this really awesome weird egg looking avatar in another software package. This one I did in Nomad Sculpt just because I have it on my iPad and I really like to sculpt things on a couch. And my cat also approves because she wants to have be on my lap when I can. So I made this one just so you guys can see. I just made a blob and then I added a bunch of assets that look similar to things that you would bring to a campsite. So I have, things that adults, I guess, would bring to a campsite. I have larger bottles. I have some like cans, tin cans. I don't know why I picked some donuts, but I threw some donuts in here. I have a couple of boxes. I don't know where you would get a dodecahedron, but I have one in there. And just for fun, I have also added some cloth. So I simulated cloth in Marvelous Designer, exported it as an OBJ, and then just put it into the software and added it to the shape just so we have a bit of a complex shape. So with this item, I imported it as an OBJ. I'm going to twist it like this. Right now, it's just kind of what it is. I know I want to make the bag look like a teardrop shape, so that is why it is teardrop shaped. From the dodecahedron store, obviously. From the generic assets that you can use in most softwares that have a dice shape, a D20. It's just a giant D20. They just put it in there. It's fine. Don't ask questions. You don't want to know why they have a giant D20 that they're putting in the trash bag. Maybe this trash bag is the giant dice jail, for all we know. But it's going to go with the theme of taking away your trash for camping. So with this item, it's imported as an object. I'm going to do it again just so you guys can see it. So I have this in a demo folder. Import, add, or import, just import OBJ. I have this in the demo folder. It's visible here. You can do it here, but oftentimes I'm going to do the longer process just so you guys can see it. I have my cloth OBJ that I actually use to put on this item, but I don't really need it. I will use the trash bag OBJ. Open avatar. I'm bringing it in feet. I did not make this at the correct scale, and I'm going to show you how to rescale it. Import avatar feet. It is specifically an OBJ. The ubiquitous teapot. Yep. So this is actually going to come in giant, and I believe I've accidentally left on the add fitting suit and T-pose. So I got an error. If you get this error, it also might be because you don't have an avatar that is human, that is in a T-pose or an A-pose. Arrangement points were not fit to the avatar. Yeah, I wonder why. Also, it's huge. So I can rescale it, and rescaling your avatar is very easy in the software, so long as it's imported as an OBJ. Only OBJs can be resized in the property editor. So I know I want it to be about 500 millimeters tall instead of the gigantic height that I made it. Now, I could manually move this if I really wanted. But another option that some of you might not know about is I can just right click my imported item, my imported avatar, move avatar to center of the space or to ground. And I'm going to make it match the ground. This is a good way to just fix some errors or resizing problems that you've had and you don't really want to try to work around it. You can just right click it in the 3D space. And I can now move it to the center. So here's my trash bag, the contents of it. And I'm moving it up in space just a little bit because I do know that I want this to be conceptually touching the ground, but I don't really want it to actually touch the ground due to collision issues. And I could also just use this piece as is in space even higher if I really wanted. But for now, I'm going to put it about here because the one thing you can't do is you cannot move your avatar and your cloth at the same time. So as we all know, for those of us who do chores, we know that a trash bag is rectangular. So I'm just going to do literally a rectangle. Now this is a complex item, so it'll be really interesting to see what happens. I mean, I know what happens. I have done this before. We'll see how this looks. This is probably a little too big. This is like industrial size too big. And I do want this to stretch a bit. So I'm going to make it about the same size. And I can adjust this. So trash bag, honestly, this is going to be pretty easy. Trash bag, I got my contents here. I have my front side and then I'll have my back side by right clicking. I like to do layer clone over or under. It doesn't matter. In this case, I'll do under. And then you can see here in my viewport, I do have the thick texture surface off. So if I have thick texture surface on, I can't see the direction of my normals. So in this one case, I just like I just like textured surface, so I can see the normals when I'm working. I want my normals to be facing outward, so I'm going to right click the back item and just choose the flip normal option. I do want to remove one of these sewing groups, but I can't really do that without cutting it all up. So we're just going to manually do this again. And we can sew in the 3D space. So using the segment sewing tool, I'm just going to go ahead and click the sides together. And this is the default fabric setting. And just to make it easier on myself, I'm going to right click in the world space, go to simulation properties and go to gravity and make it 0. This will make it a little bit easier for me while I'm working to get this into the correct shape because I will do like a little bit of a vacuum situation and simulate. Now for the sake of this, I'm going to turn the color of this object to a dark color. Now this is a bit of a complex shape. Let me turn the mesh on. pretty dense mesh, but it's still, just because of what's happening and the density of the fabric here, it is poking through. So there's a couple of ways to work around that. For now, I am just going to turn the skin offset to a higher value. It's not causing too much of a problem. So normally it's 3, I'm going to make this 5. And so it's colliding a little bit less. I will be removing this and bringing it back down, which is what we did in one of the other camping tutorials. But for now, just for shape and manipulation, I'm just going to be doing it this way. And I'm pretty much going to ignore a good portion of the collision. That's fine. And while we're still at 20 particle distance, we know most trash bags, we are going to tie them at the top. So in this case, I'm just going to apply an elastic value to the upper lines here using the Edit Pattern tool, or the Z hotkey, and I'm just going to select those upper lines. They are connected still with the instancing, so I can turn on elastic, and I'm not going to make it 80%. We're just going to kind of play with it. Come here, both of you. I guess one of you didn't get selected. I'm just going to remove linked editing just to make my life a bit easier. Elastic, select both, 20%. And here I can just keep playing with the elastic until I'm happy with it looking closed. I can also increase the strength, but most of the time it's going to be the percentage. So this looks pretty good. I can also make this a little bit taller, just so that it's not traveling as much of a distance. Is this a Blender add-on? You're funny. You're so funny. No. It's a software. That's the name of the channel that you're watching this on. This is what Blender is trying to copy. So this is Marvelous Designer. It is the most used cloth simulation software in the CG industry. And that's going to be a 30-second lag with the chat. So with this fabric, it's the default fabric. It is pretty stretchy, but I actually do want a different material. So I'm going to reset my layout just to pop up my library. And I'm going to go to fabric. I actually like the preset. I'm going to steal the preset, but I'm going to delete everything else for the stretch velvet. So I'll just type in stretch in the bar here, and cotton stretch velvet. I'm actually just going to chuck it on there. You don't normally have a velvet trash bag, but you could if you really wanted. So I'll simulate, and I have a bit softer of a material, and it's going to be closer to that plastic that we'll have later. Obviously, I don't want it to look like velvet, so I'm going to go ahead and just already start editing my basic parameters. This is definitely a glamping situation. Like a velvet trash bag would be pretty great, or like what is it? The a Panay trash bag. But in this case, I'm using plastic, so I can actually just delete the texture and the normal map. I'm going to make the color not completely black, but I'm just picking on the upper black range, like 80%, 90% black. And in the material settings, under the material you're working with, you can actually choose a material type. And I can just use plastic. Flocked. Oh my god, that'll be hilarious. It's a leather trash bag. But I'm just going to choose plastic. Now, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. It's not there yet. This is also still at 20 particle distance, and we aren't having a bit of that that vacuum. We can't really see the contents, and some people do want to see the contents. So I'm going to do the next step. So I did the large modeling portion. My head is in the way. This is why I think this is why I was smaller. My head's in the way. So I'm probably going to do another version of this trash bag too that we'll build on, so you can have different types. But we have our basic shape here. And this is still at 20 particle distance. So once I'm done with the basic shape of my sculpt, I can start bringing down the particle distance and increasing the quality of the render in the end. So I'm going to bring this down to 10 particle distance so I have a denser mesh. Where is it? For those of you who might not know or might not be familiar with Marvelous Designer, I'm out of sync. You should probably refresh your Twitter. Your Twitch. If audio's out of sync, it's not coming from me because my audio is in sync when I check it. Yeah, my audio is fine. You just need to refresh your internet or your streaming service. But thank you for letting me know. So I'm going to make one side 10 and one side 20 particle distance just so people can see it. So 20 particle distance, so that's 20 tries per millimeter square. So here we have the 20 and here we have 10. So the lower the number, the denser the mesh is going to be. So just so you guys know, you can see it here. It's a pretty good representation of the two. I'm going back down to 10 and then I'm going to simulate. And so now we're going to get a little bit more of that detail. For more of that detail, we can also apply pressure. You see me use pressure quite a lot in the software, but pressure is also based upon the direction of your normals. So again, our normals, if I turn off simulation, it's a little bit darker on the inside. Our normals are facing outward. So having a negative pressure means that I'm going to be pushing against the exterior or on the normal side of the material. And I can make a vacuum form or a plastic that is stuck to material kind of look. I'm going to do negative 20. It might be a little strong, but we're going to see. I'm going to turn off that mesh view because you guys don't really need to see that anymore. So it's still pretty blocky. I do need to shift Q to hide my fabric, and I'm going to bring back that offset to its basic 3, which will allow the fabric to get closer to the shape. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? We can just make let's make this not fabric matte. Let's make this glass. Oh, it's beautiful and see-through. Okay. So here's the beginning of this trash bag with the camping theme of, if you were going to go camping, remember to take it, to bring everything back with you that you brought with you, including your trash. So we're getting there. We're getting a bunch of those wrinkles that we have at the top. It's still pretty low detail. So we can go down to 5 particle distance. And let me turn off that. Let me make sure that YouTube is getting the correct chat. Because I'm double checking my thing while we do this. While this resets itself. Okay, good. Still worried me that I was out of sync. And we'll let that go into place a little bit. We can see the top of the bag where you'd, generally tie the knot right here. Now that I can probably, let's see. If you like how this looks, you can move forward with that. I'm just going to try to make it a little bit. If it's not simulating, that'd be great. Just a little bit taller, just a little bit more distance for this to travel. So I can close this bag. It's a little angry. Why are you angry? You are not the trouble. You are not the problem child here. And I just use Control H to try to settle what's happening with the elastic. I'm just pushing it out from itself by using Control H, which is strengthen. It's the strengthen hotkey. I'm watching this portion. I'm waiting for this to settle down a little bit more, and then I can go ahead and basically freeze the majority of this. Okay, cool. So we basically have our trash bag. You can see the contents a little bit. You can always make your own custom contents. I mean, this one I put like, I guess a D20 by a D20. This one I was like, I'm putting like a cereal box. I don't know. And I put a bunch of cans and things like that. And here's like more like plastic that's supposed to be balled up. I spent, a good hour on it, but I didn't want to spend too much time. You can obviously make yours far more accurate to what you want. But here's basically the trash bag here. Nearly done. For the trash bag, I do want to add a couple of ties. So I will work. So I'm basically done with this. I can add the ties to it just by creating little rectangles because those are generally those loops. I'm going to clone this, copy. Bag ties. Using the free sewing tool or the M hotkey, I'm just going to go ahead and sew this to itself. Make the angle turned because then I can have it be flat. And then I'm going to go ahead and just attach this on here. And I'm only doing one. And you'll see why here in a minute, because I'm going to copy paste it because I'm making a fake knot here. We'll just let that jump on there. While it's simulating into place, I'm opening up that fabric that I chose. So most of the time trash bags don't have black ties. I'm just going to pick you can change your options here. So you can do red, as long as I drag and drop it onto the material. And Control H to strengthen, which is the strengthen hotkey. You can also right click to strengthen. And I'm just going to shrink this a little bit. They're not that long. You could make an actual knot here, but you don't have to, and I'm definitely not going to, just because oftentimes you're not going to see it it's generally inside of this knot. So I'm not going to worry too much about it. And I'm going to go ahead and just turn on thick textured surface. I don't really need to worry about my normals as much anymore. Okay, cool. Thank you, Rosemary. Simulate, and I'm going to turn gravity back on. Negative 9800. It's a little pink. I can change that in a minute. A little on the pinker side. Okay, there's my trash bag. It's still 20 particle distance. We will make this 5. And then we'll copy paste, and then that'll be it for basically a very basic trash bag. Okay, there's that first part. Control C, Control V. I can even paste it in space. Come here, you. And I'm going to put it probably just right next to it. You can place it in other spots if you want, but that's how you can make a really quick trash bag. And I'm going to let this simulate for a good minute, just so I have it settle in place. This isn't going to be animated, and this really isn't going to move. I'm going to move this so you guys can see. And then I'll do, there's one other thing that we can do for this trash bag is some trash bags have that elastic texture on it. So it's I think it is a diamond. So I'll probably just throw that texture on there as another option. So, Control K. So this is basically a very, very simple trash bag. I could move my ground, but I honestly like how this is looking. You can set it on the ground or a little bit closer to it, but that's going to be up to you and how you want your final item to look like. This one, it's going to be, honestly, I'm going to have it collide with the floor because no one's going to see it. It's going to be against like a tree or inside of a bag. But if you want that on the ground, just be aware of that. I can right click grid properties. You can move the grid. I don't like to, but you can move the grid and you can move your floor. It's not really recommended, but you can. So here, let's go ahead and save this file, save as. Always save your finished items as a separate item. Unfortunately, I've already made a trash bag. You can kind of see it here. I'm going to go ahead and overwrite this trash bag. For those textures, if you want, you can always use existing textures in your external software, but if you wanted to apply those in Marvelous Designer, you could just draw them inside here. So let's do, just to make my life easier, instance pattern. If I'm selecting both of them, they are the same exact shape. If I right click and choose instance pattern, they are still, they're not symmetrically linked, but I can link them. So what happens to one will happen to the other. So that allows me to do something like this pretty quickly. Offset along a curve. We'll make this pretty easy, 12. While they're still selected, I'm using the transform pattern tool. I'm going to make that a diagonal. While they're still selected, right click, extend and trim to pattern outline. It deselected. So right click, I'm going to lock all my pattern outlines. I'll have to apply it to the other side too, but that's okay. Right click, copy, Control R is mirror paste, and I'm just going to mirror paste it. I'm going to have to do the same thing to the other one, but that way you can see that shape, and then you can apply a fold angle if you really want to have that elastic like shape in the material. Because it has the vacuum kind of happening, you're not going to see too much of it. But let me do other way around. Yeah. There we go. And that's how you can get those textures in the material itself. Obviously, it would probably be much smaller, and like generally it's only on the lower half, but that's just another way to get texture. And here, if you like this one, you can save it. Again, file, not save project because I would overwrite. Go ahead and save as project because I'm saving it as something else. Textured project, if I could write the word textured. Textured trash. Trash. Texture trash. It has not been every Wednesday. It was every other Wednesday. We will not be doing it next Wednesday because we will be at SIGGRAPH, which we will be doing live demos there. If you are attending SIGGRAPH, we will try to be doing more live streams again, and we will have more live streams. We do not do them every Wednesday. We do them every other Wednesday when we have a proper schedule going. And we will have more people than me just doing those live streams. So everyone be nice. But that is it for the trash bag. So remember, clean up your trash. And I've already saved my project. So I'm going to go ahead and go new project. And we'll start the next item. The next one is a sleeping bag. We are glamping, but we do need to have a sleeping bag. So I'm not going to be measuring. We're doing this the easy way. I have my basic default avatar. I'm just going to pick one. Mesh is still turned on. Texture. We have the mesh. Honestly, I just need him for his height. And I'm going to make him a sleeping bag. Sleeping bags are pretty easy. We are going to be using pressure again. Think of it like a tiny quilt. Now, we don't need him anymore. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete him. And holding shift, I'm just going to flatten this. So same thing as you saw me do earlier. Right click, layer clone over this time. Now they are symmetrically linked here. Not symmetrically linked. They are linked again. Again, I'm doing the texture and I'm flipping it. I didn't used to flip it. I am flipping them now just because I will have another whole set on top. So for this, we have a top and a bottom. We will have pressure of 2. We'll do 10. I know what's going to happen, so I don't really want to deal with it too much. Control. So this is just one layer of the sleeping bag. I'm not worried about too much about the friction on the ground because I'm just making the quilting. And here's where you can do your quilting. I'm just going to do one type first, and then we'll do other types using more instancing. Here we'll do the easiest one, which is going to be just that curve. Let me do, starting from the edge. Luckily for us, a lot of these sleeping bags are not super specific. Now here I will sew them together and I'm going to simulate. So for those of you who weren't here a minute ago, this is the opposite of what we did for that trash bag. So this is a positive pressure value, so it's pushing against the flipped normal. So you can see that pressure. Now gravity is on. This is pretty strong for a sleeping bag. I tend to do 5, sometimes even just 2 to represent that stuffing that's inside of it. And the shape of your bag will be affected by the actual shape of your quilting. So just kind of keep that in mind. There's ways to work around this as well, which is perfectly fine. In fact, we can do fabric next. We'll do the first layer. Copy paste. So that's the lower layer. We'll do the top layer next. And then we'll do materials so you can see the difference between those. So now we have our sleeping bag. Most of these sleeping bags, you can just sew them together. I do need to make sure that I know which is the 2 bottoms. I'm going to cheat and help myself here. So I know that these 2 face each other. So you can just use the sewing tool and sew them together. But in Marvelous Designer, we do have a zipper tool. So if you're not familiar with a zipper tool, it is in the 3D window. And it allows you to apply a zipper to your workspace. And it is a functional zipper. So I'm checking my 3D window here and the direction of things that are going. So I have this little blue dot here that is my little ghost. With the newer versions of Marvelous Designer, I think 11 and above, you can actually use the zipper tool in the 2D window, which is really nice. So most of these sleeping bags, you can actually just go, if I can stop selecting them, that would be great. So with most of these sleeping bags, you can zip them up all the way. All the way. All the way. Why? Why are you doing this today? Fine, we're going to do the other side. And I can click as I go to make it work. I don't know why it's having a tantrum about this corner. That is a first. But fine. I will clean up this corner. If you have any problems with this that tool in the corner, you really shouldn't have a solid square corner. 130. You should have a bit of a curve to it. And I'm clicking and dragging and then choosing 130. So it applies around those corners. And I really only need to do the bottom two. 130. Okay. 130. Okay. So that should fix my problem. Try that again with the zipper. There we go. And when I've done my zipper, I double click to finish it. And this is mirrored. As you can see, these are the two sides facing each other, and those are the ones I want to use. So here I'm going to go the opposite direction. Again, just clicking to tell it where I want it to go most of the time. And we're not going there. We're not. Why? You didn't want to do this to the other one. Most of the time this works. This is so much fun when it just chooses to do this. Fine. I will go the other way. Or apparently not. Oh, that would be why. When it is wrinkled, it's a little angry about it. So we're going to try this one more time. If this wasn't simulated, this wouldn't have been a problem. I'm going to cry. Zipper, you didn't do this earlier. Fine. You can also do this in the 3D window, which is how it's always been. I just wanted to be specific about which layer I wanted it on. Double click to finish, and then you can do it again in the 3D window. It's easier if you can make it listen to you. But, you know, sometimes you can't, and you just gotta let it do what it wants to do. Cool, thanks. Cool, I'm gonna have to write that bug report. That's a first. Fine then. I have made the sleeping bag. I made it twice. No, don't do that. I actually have to write the bug report. I just have to fill text in there. Don't actually do that. If you want to be useful. No, I know what it looks like on the back end, because that way I can find it. Like, don't actually do that. All right, we're going to do this pretty quick. Luckily, that was pretty fast. Oh, that's too tall. No one else puts those in their bug reports, so I have to. I don't have to, but I do. I do because I'm bitter. But then I have to rewrite them. So again, I'm doing the exact same thing. Layer clone over. This time I'm not touching my internal line to the edge, just to make my life a little bit easier. It is the nature of live streams. Honestly, whenever I do a live stream, these things tend to not want to work like they normally do. Using the V hotkey, I can adjust my curves, as many of you in the stream know, but for those of you who might not. To make this a bit easier, I'm moving the edges away from each other. Moving the internal lines away from the edges. And then sewing it to itself. This is actually before I flipped the normal of this lower item. Flip normal. And that way I can apply pressure in the same direction. 5. Should make it hopefully a little bit easier for me. We will see. Control C, Control V, copy paste. Gotta have 2 layers to the sandwich. Zipper. Okay, this worked a minute ago. This worked earlier. I just made the trash bag. I just made it, Lewis. You came too late, man. I made it first. I specifically made it because of your question. I made it. You just gotta rewind on the stream. Made a trash bag. I made 2 kinds of trash. I'm gonna cry. Fine. I'm gonna open up my other project then. Fine. Fine trash bag. Sleeping bag. Just so you can see it, because I just crashed it for a second time. There's your trash bag. I made 2 of them. I made one with texture on it. And I made like specific little stuff that goes inside. I've kind of decided that it's also a bit of a dice jail. There is a large D20 shaped item in there. Why? I don't know, but I put it there. So I don't know why I've had it crash twice, but I already made two sleeping bags. So we're going to look at the sleeping bags and pretend that I made those really fast. See, it worked. It worked earlier. I'm mad about it. It looks like a lovely sleeping bag. So we're going to go ahead and take steps back in time here. And I'm going to show you how this worked. This item, okay. So adding a blank fabric, applying it to it, simulating. So we're going to pretend that I managed to just apply a generic zipper. I don't know why it kept crashing. It crashed twice in a row. But now, look, see, it works. It works perfectly fine. It's just my luck. So when you apply a zipper, it is treated as if it's sewing. You did see the sewing relationship a minute ago. I'm going to pull this again. Oops. Just one of them. And you can see the sewing lines to the zipper itself. I folded this over so we have a nice little setting here. This is the other type that you can do. I will do a different quilting look just for fun. So to adjust the zipper itself, we just have the zipper application tool in the 3D window. To adjust the zipper itself, you can select the zipper pieces. So this is the zipper pull and slider. So I can change the slider type. I can have a custom slider because I remember doing my custom slider testing back in the day. I was doing a couple bug tests, if you can't tell. And you can adjust the slider. These are all default items that come with Marvelous Designer. I can do a different, we'll do a different slider than that one. Generally for this, it's going to be this type of a slider. And you can do whatever zipper pull you want. We'll do a fancy zipper pull because we're closer to glamping right now. And here I can change the color. It's probably going to be plastic again because this is all plastic. Most of these sleeping bags tend to have plastic zippers as well. So puller is going to be plastic, stopper, everything is plastic. So I can select the actual zipper or the stops themselves, or I can also select the tape. And if you select the tape with just the selection option, you can choose the teeth and the tape, color and type in the property editor. So here my teeth are gray, just because I generally have like gray. You can also do like black almost. So this is going to be plastic. Like in real life, this is going to be a plastic zipper. For the average cost, plastic zipper. It's a bit larger, so I've chosen a size 8. I'm just going to show you what it looks like if I choose a smaller size. So the size of the tape is going to change. So these are like kind of standard actual numbers. but you guys can just kind of arbitrarily pick whichever kind of design you like the best. For these ones, it tends to be much larger plastic zipper pulls and zipper teeth. So I'm choosing the size 8. And this material is going to be a matte fabric, so I'm going to leave it black. I did choose the color black, so it's, again, you go to the tape and you can select your color. You can also try to color match as best you can with whatever other colors you've chosen. So for the zipper pull slider, we'll just do this. I'm just going to use the color picker just so you can see it. Slider, puller. Okay, see they're all plastic. And then my stops are the correct color. So this one I just can unzip all the way, but most of the time it's just going to be the one side. So when you successfully make it work, generally I turn off any strengthening, which is Control H, which is that orange color. So I've chosen a black zipper, and so I can choose other materials. You kind of already saw where I wanted to go with it. Normally there's like a softer material on the inside of your sleeping bag and then a like water resistant material on the outside. You already see the answer, but I'm still going to pick it. So going to the default fabrics, generally that exterior is going to be in nylon. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pop this out just because I'm lazy. And I want you guys to see it. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the fabric again and then pick nylon. We have a couple of nylon options. We have canvas, featherweight, and matte. I generally choose featherweight or matte for this. I like the featherweight because it's generally thinner. And you can see it on in my setting here. Featherweight. And then I actually have a flecked tartan that is from the Substance Textures. So I have the flecked tartan fabric right here. So with nylon featherweight, I'm going to stop simulating. I want my nylon to be on the exterior. So I'm just dragging and dropping. And I can pick a color. If I wanted like a duller red or brick red, I could do something like this. And then for the tartan fabric, if you have a preferred colorway for your substance texture, you can bring in substance textures to preview how it's going to look. So with substance textures, for those of you who don't know, you can do some adjustments in Marvelous Designer to the substance texture that is kind of provided. So you can adjust the yarn color, you can have random seed, you can adjust all of those things. But in this case, I'm keeping it pretty simple. We're glamping, so I want to have a bit of a glamping here. I like to do the red and the blue just because we're doing some glamping, a glamping situation. Also, red and blue is always fun. So I've pulled that over to the side. And you could basically consider yourself, like, this is pretty much close to done. You can make adjustments here, and this is why I was doing this. So you saw, I've been playing around with instancing of the patterns here and connecting them together. You can remove the connection, but you can also like make changes to it. So if I wanted to keep this, we're going to pretend I saved it. Or fine. We'll save it. File, save as project. Because I have a second one that we can do with a different quilting. Sleeping bag too. Yeah, let's go ahead and replace that. And it better not crash, because I'm going to cry. So here's where you would instance it, and then you can make changes pretty quickly. So you can always bring it in again as another asset. And then let's just say, I'm going to delete both of these just to make it easier for myself. Offset is internal line along a curve. This one makes it easy to just do those grids. I can do 6. And make sure you do the same number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. as much as, that would be great. Well, unfortunately, now Smash, if you say tissue per diem, if you go to, we actually have free swag that we designed that are free like travel tissues. And I think I like them the most out of any of the swag because I use them so much. So technically, you said that without realizing, technically I do have tissues to cry into. We give them away when we go to GDC and when we go to Seagraph. So technically, you might not have realized it, but yeah, I guess I do have tissue per diem. I just take them. I'm just going to deal with that crisis later. But here I'm changing the sleeping bag type. See, that's the thing. They're great tissues. They're travel tissues. They're great. People don't think they want them, but like when you're older, you want a tissue in your bag. Like allergies, things happen. But here is the version 2 of this sleeping bag, quite quickly made without doing too many changes, except for just to the internal line. So long as I keep the instance pattern or I reapply instance pattern, so long as I haven't made a change to the exterior or to the pattern outline, I can do this quite quickly and make different types of assets within minutes. So I can go ahead, file, save as, project. I now have a third version of this sleeping bag. I can do a different colorway if I wanted. What was the, just for the sake of this, what is the colorway here? Okay, we got this. Add background image. I'm just gonna preview this for color. We got what? We could do green. Well, let's see. I like the fleck tartan. I got the blue. Yeah, I could actually work with this beige. Hold on. We'll make it a little bit different. Custom properties. This yarn color I do not like for this. Let's do a lighter cream, maybe? No. Am I able to do this? Oh, I totally am. I've never actually tried that. You can totally color swatch from your work area. I appreciate that. Didn't try that before. I approve. Let's see. Let's try. Try a little bit of green. Like, I'm trying to make this match the colorway here, as close as I can. You're glamping. Gotta give the color name, like dusky. Yeah, dusky chartreuse, and it's just the wrong color of chartreuse entirely. What colors are in this photo? Oh my gosh, I forgot about that yellow. We could do like the cozy aesthetic green though. Okay, cozy aesthetic green though is pretty great. I will say. It looks a bit like soup pea green right now, but we're gonna fix it. I need this to be more green. I want like, there we go. Like froggy green. Custom presets. I want pink to be gone. Make this closer to this. And then lighter in color. This one needs to be more, we'll do light white leaning. There we go. See, it kind of fits now. It's a little bit better, a little less, it's not, I need more of that yellow, but that's okay. This is just for example. And in this case, I would change the zipper color to something else. So zipper teeth, I would probably just do a cream. Or like probably something close, but it's never perfect. So you want to make sure it's just slightly off. Like it's like whitish. Oh, we could do green zipper. Okay, we're gonna do froggy green zipper. Okay. And then for the zipper pole, we can do move that. I'm gonna stick with froggy green zipper pole just because I can. Just for the sake of this example. There we go. It generally never is going to match. So there is this is our aesthetic version. We'll just turn off the internal line preview and there, that's how it's going to look. If you want more wrinkles, you absolutely can add them, but you will need to start making adjustments to your patterns so that the upper one is slightly larger horizontally than the lower item. But first, save things. So File, Save As, Project, Sleeping Bag 3. Yes. This is our glamping one. And then we'll, obviously like kind of use it, but like obviously you're going to be using like something else. Probably a hotel. But it's glamping. This is like a nap in the sun after having like a wine and cheese board. So let's see what's on the next one. Ah, the next one was my hammock. So File, New. I'm actually going to keep this here just for color reference, just because I can. So honestly, hammocks are kind of funny. I don't know if anyone's ever tried to look up a hammock pattern, but it's just a rectangle. Just a rectangle. There's a couple of other things you can do, so we will do that. But really, it's just a rectangle with ropes. I'm making the easiest, simplest one first. Holding Shift to lock it in place. Control C, Control V. We'll do Control D for a symmetrically linked pattern. I have dreams of I have dreams of napping. And owning a pleating machine and owning an industrial pleat steamer. So I'm going to go ahead and lock these in place. It makes it a little bit easier, and I'll explain why in a minute. Okay. Oh, what did I do? That would explain a lot. Okay. So normally you have rope, and so these are actually going to simulate that. It's goals, but it's also like gigantic goals. So like, honestly, where are you going to have space for that? Luckily, there's companies that do that, but yeah. I actually have tree assets that I'll probably use later, but I'm not going to use it for this just because it takes up a lot of space. But we're going to go ahead and pretend these are the ropes that reach into the tree and yeah, for like sewing studio. Normally, these are just going to be placeholders, but you can actually extend them out to the items that you're going to wrap around the other set pieces. In this case, I'm just trying to make the hammock. And hammocks, honestly, are pretty darn easy. There's a couple of ways to make hammock. And this is going to be a little less glamping, a little more utilitarian. We'll see how far we get, because I do want to make that glamping chair. But that one I've only partially tested. So it'll be easier this way. So honestly, a couple of ways to make a hammock. The easiest one and the most used one for actually mountain climbing, actual camping is going to be something that is made out of the same nylon that we kind of used in the previous one. So it's going to be a thin nylon material. So I'm going to pick that first. So nylon featherweight. And these items are frozen, but this allows me to sew directly to them pretty quickly. Generally, this is what's going to happen. Oh, If I place them correctly. Did that to myself. Yeah, let's not deal with that. Because these are just placeholders. Oh my god. Fine. Little jerks. This is a great example of why you should place your things in the correct orientation while you're trying to do them. Reverse sewing, reverse sewing. Okay. So honestly, this is going to be the easiest way to make a hammock. Now, you can see it's a little bit angry with my simulation here, specifically because this is still at 20 particle distance. Now, this is not wide enough. I'm going to move this down lower. I'm going to also apply elastic to the edges. So it helps it a little bit, not all the time. But it helps it with stability. Now this is a lot of material going into just that little bit of fabric. So we can bring this down. It's 20 particle distance. We'll stair step it. We're just going to do 10 for now. And just for the sake of viewing and what's going to happen with the next one, I'm going to make a pillow, layer clone over. That will actually, it's going to cheat something for me. Where are you? Where's my pillow? Flip normal. So I'm actually going to be using this to weigh down this piece. I know it sounds a little funny, but it's actually quite fun, a fun little trick to do. Pressure is going to be 20. Don't let it fly away. Come here, little brat. So I'm actually doing this with pressure, just to make it a little bit easier for me. Come on, figure yourself out. And I'm going to be cheating this. So I'm actually going to go to my presets. And I'm actually going to increase the density. So I'm actually just using this to keep this open. And I'm going to delete this pin. So I'm actually going to use this as a weight. I was doing this earlier today, and I'm going to do it again. Control J. Now I am going to help myself here with some pins while I basically pull out and open the hammock. Because you know how most hammocks tend to lay flat, and you're like, well, I have to like adjust this thing. That's how it's also going to work here. But in this case, I'm going to fold down. I'm going to cheat. This will just be my live weight here. Thickness collision. This is going to be 5. I don't want it to cause too many problems. But I want this to basically simulate the weight of a person. Come here, no. Don't do that. Do I have gravity? I should have gravity on. I do. I'm just going to increase the material density of this. Because I need to this is actually how I'm going to do the other chair as well. Oh, this looks like it got twisted. Just there, but... density. Just going to go all the way up. And honestly, this is how a lot of the hammocks tend to work out. This is the ones that are just those really thin material. Oh my gosh, my head is hiding it. This is that really thin material. But I don't like that pressure is doing that, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove pressure from both items. And we'll see if this helps with my... Oh! Excuse me, I said remove pressure, not have pressure. Okay, where are we going? Your people do not need you. You do not have to go. Now this is actually quite heavy. You can do other things, but I'm just playing around with this at this point. Come here, you little brat. I'm going to use tack, and I'm really just going to tack this lower item to the middle. Now it can't fall off, and I can adjust it a little bit. It does look like I need to give this a little bit more space, so I'm just going to go ahead and move this. It's a trampoline hammock, so that's how you can do a trampoline if that's what you really want. I wanted to use this to do the thing, but fine. Well, especially when you're doing it a little bit ad-lib like me. I really like doing it ad-lib more than anything else. Because I've already made this once. So honestly, this is honestly the average hammock. If we really want to play it, here's how you do a normal one. So you do a string type hammock. Remove elastic. Split. Uniform split. So you know how they have the triangles. So you do split, uniform split. And then I'll do split, uniform into 3. Or into 3 segments, 2 dots. Split. I will actually make this like this. A little bit different. This is getting too close to that chair. And then actually a little trick. So I could leave this like this, but I'm going to do cut and sew, and then offset. I'm going to offset this and then strengthen a line so I can kind of fake that the bar that's normally used. Just because I don't feel like actually bringing in it as a trim. Offset as internal line. We'll do 20. Okay. Again, cut and sew. Control A, except for those 2. Right click, I'm choosing Reset 3D Arrangement. Without simulating these items, I'm going to actually choose right click, Solidify, so they're going to be a little bit stronger as a straight object. Control H, flip. No, all of you. Not you. I think with any software, honestly, you gotta just have a sense of humor with how you work with yourself, honestly. These ones, I will also, just because I can, I'm going to increase the thickness rendering, and that's what's going to help me here. We're not going to see it, but I'm going to add another material. 0, I'll keep a little density. Actually, I'm just going to use the preset for trim hardware. And I'm just going to increase the length of this. And I should actually apply that material to these two items. Apply. What also can help is if you layer clone over, I'm going to go ahead and add some pressure. You don't have to do this, but there's a bunch of ways to create some semi-rigid items. But as we kind of know, it's a little bit difficult in Marvelous Designer to do that. And just because I've made a bunch of changes to this, I'm going to remove Solidify, because it can cause problems if you've left Solidify on. Resets 3D arrangement. Do I want to do that? It's a little hard. I have a little bit of time. The one thing is that we do semi-rigid is really hard. I would like for all of you to please submit requests for semi-rigid simulation, because I always submit requests, but we haven't gotten it yet. Zero pressure. Okay, can I just give it normal fabric properties? Oop, I gave it too. I forgot I made that heavy. Whee! And that's how you make a trampoline, everybody. But I'm gonna go ahead and just cheat a little bit. I'm gonna show you the finished hammock that also has a zipper, so I'm not saving this. It is a closed hammock, but this is actually an openable hammock that you can put things inside of. Now the parachute trampoline. So this is actually the finished hammock. It's exactly what you basically saw me do a minute ago, because this is how you normally make. This is actually how you can make a hammock if you chose to want to make one yourself. These pieces would be relatively square in this case, and then you have your rope. And then you can actually, if I zoom in close enough, I will invert this zipper. Reverse direction. Reverse direction. Now this is flipped, so I'm just going to go ahead and flip the normal on both of them. Flip normal. Ooh. And flip normal. And the reason that I have the zipper heads facing each other is that if I wanted to during my animation, I can always just grab the zipper. Or during this project, you can always partially open it so that you can keyframe it if you really want. You don't have to, but you can if you chose. So I can open this. So this is actually like the average hammock, and why everyone has a problem getting in and out of a hammock. Now, for those of you who are not glamping, I do have time to do the two things I wanted to do. So I'll do the chair and then I can do this other one. So once this is done, you're not glamping in this case. In my situation of where I'm making something, you are absolutely doing this in cold weather. It's going to be cold, and you need that camping insulated item. Oops. I'm actually going to rotate this. Where's my normal? Oh, okay. Wrong way. Bloop. And I'm going to be making, I don't know if anyone's actually seen this, but like this is a non-glamping situation. But you absolutely can, a lot of people do this. You actually can buy an insulated item for your hammock. For if you're actually like out camping in the winter. So that's what we're going to make really fast too, because it's really easy. It's basically a taco shell for your hammock. And it sounds exactly like what it is. And it's great. Just to make my life easier, I am going to go ahead and apply a fold in the middle before I do anything else. And I'm going to use the fold arrangement tool and just make that taco shell. This will become a quilted item, but it gives you an option. Doesn't need to be that big. Okay. And honestly, what makes it the best is that when these are actually used, there's just a string. So I'm going to go ahead and do this and just make it a long string, because you can just apply a texture to this. Because in a real world situation, you would have something like this to be warmer. I did look into a lot of hammocks and camping gear. So I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know. Offset along a curve. Again, this is actually really quick. I'm going to layer clone under. And then I will flip its normal. Now parachute trampoline hammock. All in one. Flip the normal of the most recent item. Copy. We're just going to give this another color. Give this blue. Cyan, because welcome to the 90s again. Okay. And what makes it quite easy is I can just go ahead and sew this edge to edge. It is a quilted snow taco. And if you ever need to make one, this is exactly how you would make one. And now that they're facing the same direction, we can do, let's just do 10 particle or 10 pressure. I'm going to freeze this as a group. And I'll probably end up making this smaller. Yeah, actually, you can totally make one of these too if you wanted, but you can buy them quite easily as well. Let me zoom in. Now this one's less glamping, more like actual camping. And it really does look like a taco. Like this is what the product looks like. It's really funny. Actually, it should be wider. It should be longer. So it is like a sandwich. It is a long sandwich. I'm not going to continue with it because I would like to make the chair. But you totally could do one. You just got to use like Thinsulate or something. Especially since you're in Canada. But yeah, so honestly, this is like the real thing. This is like the pattern of how you would make it, but it would be much wider. It would be like longer down. So the hammock is free fitted. But yeah, so this hammock is not a glamping hammock, but it is absolutely possible to make, and it is actually used. So if you want to save your project again, save it as a, you know, non-glamping hammock. We have a half an hour left, and I think that hopefully is enough time to do the last thing, which is we did a generic, super generic hammock here. We're gonna try to make that chair. We're gonna make a glamping hammock chair. So we got a half an hour, so we're gonna try it. I keep making these huge. Close enough. So the chair is going to start off with the pillows because the pillows are going to give me the shape. I'm excited for the glamping hammock chair. Again, this is the instancing theme of the stream right now. And specifically why I'm doing this, to make it easy so you can have a bunch of different set pieces. Oh, where are we going? Layer clone over in the 2D window. Under, flip normal. Again, we're doing pressure. You guys saw me do that pillow earlier. We're doing pressure yet again. This is also why I'm increasing the density here. I'm going to do a different material. This one will be linen. And I am increasing the density for a reason. You guys will see in a minute. So this is going to be that, you know, cushion for the seat. And this is going to help me here in a minute. What I want it to do is not be too floppy. This is going to be my cushion for my seat. So I'm going to do two things. I'm going to prop this up in the shape I want it. I'm going to do two things in case it doesn't work. I'm going to solidify, which solidifies the wrinkles. Not so much the fold angle, but that's okay. This is going to be, what if I just did 0? It's going to try to hold itself in place as best it can at the 0 fold angle. But I'm going to help it out a little bit with some tacks. It's not perfect, but that's honestly preferable. So here we have our heavy cushion, honestly. And we're going to do my little noodles again. Control C, Control D. These guys will be the item that it's actually attaching to. So we have the base for my chair. I can also save that piece as an avatar if I wanted, but we're going to try to work with this as an object for now. Yep. Let me look at the reference you wanted to see. So I did this earlier. Okay, so this is the interesting one because it's a little bit different from the rest. These need to go horizontally because this has to fold around the shape of the chair. Because we're pretending that this is tied to a tube that's above it for now. Okay, wow. Let's just go ahead and do it this way. Reset 3D arrangement. Hold shift. There we go. I'm gonna leave it like that. Control C, Control V. Oh, I'll do Control D. And we're just making a lot of accessories here to fill the scene, because we can use these assets in other projects as well if we really wanted to. Okay, oops. Let's make this frozen. Selecting and hitting Control K. Now here's where I'm going to be turning off gravity, or making gravity. You guys saw it in the more recent stream. We're making it not the worst. -2000. So this is still much denser, but gravity is a little less. This allows me to play a little bit more around. But what I'm going to do is start to kind of place this in space for that shape I'm looking for that hammock. Okay, you guys go here. This is the one on the left. Wait, what? Okay, good. Now it is facing the correct direction. Let me actually see the stream here. Okay, you guys can't see too much. There. So what's going to happen is I'm going to be using the base of this as its shape here. Control C, Control V. Keeping this instanced, I'm making a copy. So it could also just be used in place here. So Smash, if you actually, I'm going to cheat. Smash, if you wanted Control layer, actually layer clone under. And this is sewn to it. I'm going to freeze this. You wanted to see more rope options. I will show you the closest rope option that I'd recommend, at least for now. Generally, people are wanting, you will want to do things that are, you would generally want to do, come here. Generally, you don't want to do all ropes, but you totally can get away with it if you really want it. Control K. Where are you? Okay. But we will do ropes here, because you can do that. It's very possible. So moving these two out of my way. This is now going to be the base. So what happens, especially with the image you showed, which I'm going to show everyone here for a second, is the distance between these ropes travels all differently. So it can be easier to do it with the ropes. So we're going to give that a try. Where is my, okay, here we go. So we'll do like the rope concept. It's just going to be a lot of rectangles. And honestly, a lot of tacks, because tacking, this is where tacks are going to come in handy. So tacks and sewing. So I'm actually going to make a bunch of these here in a minute. One, two, three, four, five. We're going to do 5. The more of these that I get, the more difficult it becomes. These are not evenly placed. I'm going to probably suffer the consequences of that choice later. Oops, don't do that. Shift Q. Why are these all on the wrong side? Whatever. So you can do ropes, it's just a little bit more difficult. These definitely don't need to be this long. And this is how you can figure it out. This is how you can troubleshoot your way into success. And honestly, it's the most fun to do anyway, and then you don't have to think too hard about it. Superimpose over. I can just fix that. Okay. I'm just going to add. I just want some default settings on this one. So with this, you can basically brute force your way to success. I'm just picking a pin, and I know that the closer it is to the edge, the less it wants to travel. So I'm just using, not pins, but I'm choosing tacks here. And I am kind of sorting them out a little bit better, a little bit easier in an oriented way here. So I can see the force of which it's going to get pulled at. That allows me to turn off simulation, but preview how this is going to look. So you can completely do the straps here. There's just going to be more things to do. Control C, Control D. And you do need to do everything manually, which kind of sucks. But it does at least copy some stuff over. It doesn't, not really. I should work smarter, not harder. 1 second. Split in half. Okay, I'm splitting this in half, and then I'm going to delete it and then sew it again. So I can do... I don't want to lose the sewing. This is why working symmetrically is best, but sometimes you can't, so you kind of have to accept it. Can I do cut and sew? Does it? Okay, good. Worth a try. Now these two, I can go like this. Come here. Symmetric pattern. I was hoping to do both. Unfold the symmetrical editing. Control C, Control D for the other pieces. It lets me. I'm gonna have to do every single one. Why? Why can't I do all of them? Fine. Oh. You're not gonna let me. Oh, 'cause sewing's kind of got busted. That's fine. All right. Let's fix this for a second. I have 1, 2. Okay, we're just gonna divide this line, split line again, and I'm gonna do 20. No, I don't want to do 20. We're gonna do 10. This will make it a little bit easier. Control C, Control V, just because I don't know why it's not letting me do it. That's okay. I can still work smarter, not harder. I just need to remember which direction my sewing is going. And remove linked editing, just because I don't need to do that anymore. Oh, it's because they're instance patterns. That would be why. That's okay, though. 2, 3. Because this one I actually haven't tried yet, so that's why we're doing this now. Why is this uneven? I'm just blind. Okay, cool. That's fine. Green goes there. And select those guys because they don't have any pins. Right click, superimpose side. This will make it a little bit easier. And I'm going to simulate. We're going to give it just a minute because it needs to settle down. Yep. It'll whiplash in there. Okay, so this is how you just place them. And you can do this in the 2D window or the 3D window. And this is how you can also eyeball measure to see what's going to work and what's not going to work. Superimpose over, just because why aren't you? Oh, let's undo that. I'm going to just do that in space. Are you having a problem? Oh, you are having a problem. That would probably be why. Give that a second. And then come on. I don't want that to fall down, so I'm just putting some pins inside of it. So you can do this the hard way. This is honestly the I don't know what I'm doing way, and I don't want to deal with it way. This is exactly what it is. This one I'm going to add the trim grain full leather, 0 density. And then we're going to finish up some more of these pins, or these tacks specifically. Pins are great, but tacks are also really useful. So I don't have to do like brain math. And this is how you can do it. I would recommend sewing at the end of these and cleaning this up. But this is a way to troubleshoot your way into getting things to work. Now, my material's gray, by the way, just because it is solidified. And with Solidify, you can't, you don't actually see the texture. Unfortunately, Solidify, much like Strengthen, Solidify makes things, like how Strengthen makes things yellow, Solidify makes things gray. And it can be confusing. But here's the beginning of that hammock. With this piece, I can double check how things are laying down and where they are on this thing. I'm going to uninstance these things. Remove linked editing, which is also why I couldn't layer clone, or I couldn't symmetric pattern clone. That was my fault. I'm just gonna make this layer 1. Yeah, we got some time. I'm gonna finish this though. Okay, can you not? Settle down. There you go. We're almost there. So when you resize a pattern, you don't want to, and you have a pin or you have a tack and things like that, you can resize a pattern with the transform pattern tool, but you do not want to, well, when you do that, it's going to be a scale, an even scale. But if you use the Z hotkey of the edit pattern tool, you can actually adjust one specific edge to make it fit. So as I do this, I'm only moving one side of the pattern instead of the entire pattern length, and it doesn't affect any existing sewing, and it doesn't affect any of my my tacks or my pins. And sometimes when you do use the other transform pattern tool, it can affect those tacks and pins. So that's why, so that's just a little trick to keep in mind while you're working. This one does look like it's the best, which is good. I do want this, okay, this one. I'm going to use my edit tack, and this is honestly the brute force method. Because I want to pull this up. And it does look like it's going to be a little stair step here. Which is nice to know in length. Compared to where it is attached. So this is looking actually pretty cool. This looks really good on this side. I'm going to go ahead and tempt fate. And now that they're not connected, Control C, Control D. Thank God. God dang it. I removed symmetrical editing. That's okay. And this one, because now whatever I do to one side will be a little bit easier for the other. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and do, again, we're brute forcing this, so I'm going to go ahead and just draw on this piece. With that rope example that you had, it's a little harder, but I would do, like, the fewer ones I can do makes it a little bit easier, and then you can honestly just make it a solid piece if you wanted, and then apply your textures there. But you can make these thinner and then apply, like, specifically just a rope in place, which we've done before. Line pattern. Ooh. Where am I? Okay. You know what? I'm not going to do that. We're going to do it this way. X, actually. Yeah. Which one are you? Okay, it is this one. Is this one? Okay. So I'm going to split my line here just so I can see it. Because once things are relatively in place, and they're not in the same place at all, which is interesting to see. Free sewing, put this here. Follow the string. Two. And then the last one. And we'll mess with it, but this should hopefully get us there. Edit tack. Honestly, we're deleting all tacks. Okay, it's close. Again, Z. Looks like we need to adjust some things just because of how this is now placed in space. But again, this is that, sweet, sweet brute force method where we don't have to think. We can just watch and get feedback from how it's simulating. Generally, this would be like the rope would be here, like tied here. So I could probably do something about like a curve right here, but I'm going to leave it as it is for now, just because we're so close to it being like pretty much done. Let's see. Simulate for me. I want this to be a little closer. And this is also a heavy item too. This has more density than the average thing does. Let's delete the pin. Figure it out. Layer superimpose. I'm just going to do it this way. Which one are you? Which one are you? This one? Oh, that would be why. Come on, figure yourself out. Okay. Not including those. And this is how you can do that shape. If we were to want to make this an actual solid piece, we can go, oh, where's B? And place them where they are and then get that information out of it. I think this is gonna go there. And there's like kind of that silhouette of my piece, hammer chair. So you could absolutely make this much thinner. I just want this to stabilize. Can you not cause problems for me? This one I actually don't need solidify. There you go. If it calms down a minute, that would be great. Now, I do see that this needs to be fixed. And here's where you can basically continue to play around and get the shape of that chair. I'm going to pull the seat up a bit, and so then you can kind of sit in the hammock chair now. And that's like getting started on the hammock chair. You can use strings to do this. But based on how this shape is giving, what the shape is giving, you can just do the silhouette here and then apply it as a single material piece or pattern piece, and then just apply your own custom UV or texture, whatever you want within that UV space to simulate those ropes. Because then you don't have the points that are pulling. But I will, it's like we're almost done. Like it doesn't look pretty. That is the one thing about it. Because this is basically that shape then. I'm going to go ahead and make this a problem. And also deactivate sewing. Sewing and I'm going to go ahead and do something like this. Wrong side. That's correct. Okay, hold on. Out to in. Superimpose side. We're going to see if this will work. Okay, don't be angry. Reset. And we'll give it a second. I know this is the end of the stream. This one was the one that I wanted to give it a chance because it is just temperamental. Where is it? You. Because you wanted to see that smash tooth. This is another way to do it, but you do need to make some more points that are very specific. But you can make it work with fabric, but the strings seem to be the best. Specifically with the shape here. I will either try to clean this up or I'm just probably just going to give you this pattern that you can play with. Thank you guys for joining us today. I hope we did learn a little bit. I know the end tends to be a little bit, I get to do the experimental items that people have requested, so that's always fun. But thank you for joining the stream today, which is specifically for more of the camping gear. I will render out the images and then you guys can see it on the Discord channel, which is linked in the description and in the bio for Twitch. Hopefully we will stream again next week. Not next week, but the week after that, the 16th. Next week, we will be at SIGGRAPH, Los Angeles. So if you are attending SIGGRAPH yourselves, feel free to try to visit our booth and the exhibit hall in the booth number 345. Thank you guys for joining the stream today, and I will share these assets